Hey everyone, welcome back to the 0%. Today we're going to talk about the filling out of Form 433-F, the collection of information statement. You would generally fill this out each year to go under the radar, under the threshold of ever being listed in their system to where you would owe a tax, or giving them reason to file a federal tax lien against any of your assets. So here in the instructions, they give you a breakdown of what to do. This form is generally used for a wage earner or a self-employed individual. You can look at the additional forms such as 433A. Okay. But for now, let's go over the 433F for right now. The Internal Revenue Manual, specifically 5.16.1.2, they have procedures internally if they are unable to collect information or collect monies from a potential taxpayer. So there are a list of definitions or things that they look out for, and then they code your form with any of these codes here. For example, we have inability to locate the taxpayer or its assets. How you do that is simply just put the address of the taxpayer to be in a foreign address, and the assets are not in the taxpayer's names. When they do a search, it's going to be in the title of the express trust or land trust or an LLC that's owned by a foreign trustee. We have partial expiration of the assessment prior to issuance, complete expiration of the statutory period for collection or suit initiated to reduce tax claim to judgment. We scroll down here. Let's see, we have a corporation, exempt organization, LLP or LLC, where the LLC is identified as the liable taxpayer, remains in business and is current but is unable to pay back taxes. And that's because they most recently have been disregarded as a separate entity from the owner under the 8832 reclassification process. So there are other reasons here, but most notably, I want you to pay attention to their reasoning behind sending out a notice of federal tax lien. They're only going to file that on accounts being reported CNC when the unpaid balance of the assessment equals or exceeds $10,000. That seems to be the key number for many things when dealing with banking CTR reports. So if you cannot report that you earn more than that, or all of your assets they may be, of course, they have a value more than 10,000, but it's not connected to your name, then they most likely will put you on the non-collectible list. Okay. So let's take a look at the form here and kind of go over what you would do to fill this out. So if I was a wage earner and I wanted to, I'm doing the process that I'm learning within the 0%, putting the trust together, getting my foreign trustee together, documents being filed in the proper place. And here we are, February 2024. I hear about limits and extensions on filing my 2023 fiscal year end taxes, and I haven't done it yet. Well, this is the first thing that I would do while all of that stuff is pending. Now, name and address. Of course, you put your name, but how I would do it is I would list the express trust first, doing business as my name, and then list the foreign address. As we talked about, the foreign address that will administer the trust. However, there is a state common law that will interpret the trust. And this is all backed by the treaties that we are claiming. So yes, you would put the social security number and put that in brackets. The country of residence, what country did I select for the treaty that I'm utilizing? That would go there. We don't have any information as far as household, the number of people in the household. I do not want to put any of that information in there, so I leave that blank. Or we can just write NA, not applicable. When it comes to spouse and their information, let's say the previous year we filed together. Well, going forward, if we are a team and we're doing this trust process together, I have my own trust, she has her own trust. In fact, we're going to eventually do a process where we live and stand by a private marital contract. So therefore, we will work towards doing a divorce, get a divorce certificate, get rid of the marriage license that completely gives the state jurisdiction. So we're going to get rid of that. So therefore, in this section here, I'm not going to fill out any information pertaining to the spouse. If I have a business name or a business EIN, then of course we do the 8832 process. So then we would list that information here. Okay. Lines of credit, personal banks. So like I said, I'm just doing this process. I know that I'm going to eventually get my foreign trustee to operate as the sole owner of an LLC, and then have that LLC be the trustee of the bank account that they opened for me and add me as a personal representative. So I have access to the debit cards and the credit cards. Once I have that over, then I'm going to transfer all of the money from my personal bank account over into that specific account and operate there solely. Trust me, there's hold harmless indemnity agreements between me and the trustee and the owner and all of that to protect us. So that way we are both accountable if we decide to do something that we're not supposed to do, that would leave the other person not responsible. It's very, very difficult for the foreign trustee to even do anything anyway, especially when you have control of all the information. But that's what I would end up doing, is transferring everything from my personal accounts over to this private account. And then, yes, that goes for the trust accounts. You don't have to, but if you have a trust enterprise account right now and you've given your social security number to open that up, you can leave a little bit of money in there. Maybe just leave that one open for just the bills. And then the other one would be for your life insurance policies, your whatever investments that you want to do and save and pass on to the next generation, completely without the eye of Big Brother eye, so to speak. What about investments, including certificate of deposits? If I have any of these accounts open, IRS and all of that, 401ks, I would transfer it over, change the title over to the Foreign Express Trust or the Trust Enterprise. Trust Enterprise would be better. Now, yes, you're going to see, things like this. Can you put your 401k into a trust? It says you cannot put a 401k in a living trust or other tax-deferred plans for that matter. Why? If you change the ownership structure of your 401k, the IRS will regard it as an early withdrawal. Unfortunately, that money will be fully taxable in the year that the transfer takes place. Again, that's if you don't provide a W-8 BEN E to avoid that taxation at the time it is done. So you want to do a W-8 BEN E to transfer everything over into the proper name. And we don't use living trust, we use irrevocable express trust. Okay, and if we use a U.S. fiduciary trust enterprise, well, that would be a grantor retained annuity trust. So there are different systems out there to avoid this taxation. And that goes for bonds, commodities, IRAs, gold, and silver accounts. You would give that W-8 BEN E to that institution and make that change over. So once you've done that, do you have to list anything here? No. Same thing. So once I've turned over my bank account and I've closed them, then this would be not applicable, not applicable, not applicable. Just in case they wanted to make sure, if they ran a check within check systems, they would see that those accounts are closed. Now they're going to be open on the other side. There's two sides to the ledger when it comes to banking. But as far as my side, it's going to be closed out. So it's not like they have access to funds to do some type of levy. Same thing with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. You want to change that over. Whoever is your holder, then you want to do that. Real estate, you should have already quitclaimed the property over to the Express Trust if you're going to pass it on to the next generation, or a land trust, which requires no EIN if it's going to be property that you may sell. If you're thinking of selling it, buy and hold for a short-term fix and flip kind of thing, and put it into a land trust. But at least it's in something that you have access to, but it's not necessarily your name. So again, not applicable. So you have some homework to do before you fill out this form and send it in. So other assets, what about including cars, boats, recreational vehicles, whole life insurance policies? Let's talk about the whole life insurance policies. Of course, you have to give up your social security number as the insured to do that. If you have that already, then that's fine, but we're not going to list it here. You can leave that open. Or what you can do is contract with your foreign trustee and have them to provide their information as the insured, and you can close this one out and transfer it over to that one. The beneficiary of that life insurance policy would be your Express Trust or the trust enterprise. I prefer the trust enterprise because there is a bank account open to it. And you know me, I've talked about this all the time. I don't want to wait until I pass away to fund the trust. I'd like to utilize opportunities to fund the trust while I'm still here. And a good way to do that is through collateral assignment. So if I've got a policy and I've put in, let's say, $100,000 so far, that's the cash value. And the death benefit amount at that time, I'm striving for 5 million when I pass, but at that time it is somewhere around, let's say, $1 million. Then I'm going to use the death benefit of $1 million as collateral assignment to go buy several pieces of property. That's going to back it up. Let's say I wanted to get 2 pieces of property for $500,000. Well, I have $1 million death benefit, so I'm going to split that up, go get the property, and it's 100% financed at that point, nothing down. I'm going to go ahead and set this up as an Airbnb for maximum control, or I'm going to go ahead and put it on the market for a lease option. Give somebody a year to go ahead and get a loan to cash me out, but at least I'm able to get a non-refundable down payment on that, anywhere from 10% and up of the price. So I made it an easy $50,000 if I bought a $500,000 house. And trust me, lease options are much more, they're worth more than they are on the market to a lease option than they are to someone who's going to get a regular conventional loan. So I can sell it for $560,000, and then I have to get a minimum of $56,000 down, non-refundable. So we do have, now I got to go into our real estate course and show you how you can really benefit from these whole life insurance policies as your collateral. Um, Other things you can do, shelf corporations with the collateral assignment for whole life insurance policies. So there are so many different ways. If you really wanted to walk away from the social security number and be reliant on as a merchant and do commerce, it's so easy. It really isn't what gurus make it out to be. It's just, you just got to know the information. So put in the time to get the information, and then it becomes really easy. So for my assets here, in regards to life insurance policies, I'm not going to list anything. There's no way someone can do a search and find out that I have that. Okay, it's not going to show up in my credit report. It's not going to show up in check systems, nothing like that. IRS can't do that type of search. They're just a third-party debt collector position. What about cars? Let's say I recently bought a car in my name, so it's hard to put it into a business. Well, no, it's not. You may have a loan on that property. Let's say it's Navy Federal. What you need to do is do a subsequent lien. That means you have to understand how to create an actual loan that an LLC gives you for the value of the car, or maybe even more than the value of the car, in exchange for 100% of the preferred units in that LLC. So basically, when you finish paying off the loan that this LLC gives you, they're going to give you 100% rights to the LLC at the end of your term. Now, this is something that you absolutely have to pay on. So let's make the payments equal to the first loan that you have. So that way it works. But I'm going to structure the interest to where the payment satisfies the first loan. However, it doesn't satisfy the second as far as interest. So therefore, we have what you call a shortfall. That is negative amortization. So their bill will always be growing, but at least you can show, excuse me, at least you can show that you're paying something and keeping it current. It's your own company. This LLC that has this subsequent lien, it's your own company that's provided a loan. It's just a statement. But that alone will allow you to list that LLC as a lien holder with the DMV. Okay. And at that point, you can transfer the title over to that LLC. Now, the first lien holder, Navy Federal, they will get notified of this, and they have 30 days to challenge it. So at the same time that they get this information, your LLC needs to file a UCC-1 with the Secretary of State and send Navy Federal an opportunity to show that they've actually given you a loan. That means an itemized statement that goes from Navy Federal to whoever you bought the car from, the dealership. There has to show it left this account and went to this account. They don't have that. They don't have it. So therefore, they will not challenge this LLC's lien position as a subsequent lien. So now you have a new registration. It's no longer in your name. It's made out to the LLC. You're just using it. All right. So I'll show you more on that. Really show the paperwork, how we did it here in Florida with we got a TRX we did it with, and I think another car from, I think Chevrolet we did that with. Credit cards. What about credit cards? Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Like I said, unless they do a credit report search, which you have to give consent to, they're not going to know about this, especially if you're not behind. So NA, we're not listing anything there. With the cars and everything, we're not listing anything there. It's not in your name anymore. Business information. Complete E1 for accounts receivables owed to you or your business. This is not applicable. Not applicable. So obviously you see, you don't have any information to give, okay, but you want to do this every year. And remember, that threshold is 10,000. If they find that you have assets or amount of taxes that is over 10,000, then they're going to find some way to put a federal tax lien on your person. But this statement right here will slow it down a bit. It will slow it down in addition to everything else that you are doing. What about the employment, your employer? Should you put that information down? Well, at the very top, we just said a different country, right? We just said a different country. That's your place of residence. Go ahead and put the employer's information here, the name and their address. You do not need to check off any of these. So I would put NA, 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 pay period NA, right? And then over here, pay period for the taxes, you're going to put exempt, and for the state exempt, and for the local county taxes exempt. How long at current employer? NA. We're not reporting anything for our spouses, so leave that alone. Now, attached to this, what I want you to submit is your tax injunction. I want you to submit your tax injunction with the form and send it off to the proper address. Non-wage household income. Any of this, we're talking about alimony, child support income. This would be for the ladies, of course, if they're getting child support. Rarely do we see men getting this from the women. So NA, NA, NA. We're not going to say we have rental income because rent is taxed. Dividends are taxed, all of that. NA, NA, NA. Now you may have a pension. Let's say you're not working, you're retired, and you got a pension coming in. Well, I don't want you saying anything with that pension. I want you to do exactly what I told you to do in the 401k IRA section. Give that, you need to change that over using the WA bin E. Move that over. Monthly necessary living expenses. This is none of their business. NA, NA, NA. I want you to sign, but make sure when you sign without the US. Put in brackets 28 U.S.C. 1746, subsection 1. End bracket. Okay? Did they tell us where to send this? Is there any address? No address. So you are going to have to find out where to send it, do some research as to where to submit these things. But I'm going to go ahead and find out and put that inside of the course with this video, and you'll have that available. So that is 433-F. In the next one, we'll talk about all the other ones, which are very similar. You're just changing the information from the taxpayer name to the business name. Very, very simple stuff. Okay. So that's that. Go ahead and get all those things together before you submit this form, and I'll see you in the next video.